You know what's terrifying? You can have all the self-worth in the world and still get played, still get lied to, still get cheated on, because manipulation, it doesn't prey on your weakness only, it also targets your strength. It sees your confidence, your kindness, your loyalty, and then it slowly reshapes it to serve someone else's agenda. When the Wizard Liz opened up about being cheated on, the internet was shocked. I swear she broke the internet. Not because she's just another influencer with relationship drama, but because she represents strength and she stands for healing, boundaries, and self-love. She's also the one women turn to when they need a reminder of their own power. So how did someone like her get manipulated? And that's the first thing we all need to wake up to. Self-worth doesn't make you immune to manipulation. It makes you a prime target for it sometimes. Manipulators, they don't want weak partners. They want powerful ones they can control, people with light that they can dim, and people who believe in love so deeply that they'll keep giving even when they're being drained. Ask me how I know. So if you've ever wondered, how did I not see it? Or why did I even stay? This video is for you. Because this isn't just about Liz, this is about every single person who's ever been deceived by someone they loved. Every person who gave their heart and got gaslighted instead, and every person who believed in the potential of a relationship while ignoring the reality of the pain. Let me ask you this. Have you ever noticed how manipulation feels like connection at first? Okay, so it starts with intense eye contact, late night talks, love bombing disguised as passion. They make you feel like you are the only person in the world, and then slowly they isolate you, they confuse you, they test your boundaries, and then they make you question your gut, your intuition. And the most chilling part is that manipulators, they don't just lie to you. They get you to lie to yourself. They plant seeds of doubt so subtly that you start justifying their bad behavior like, oh, he's maybe just busy, or she's just stressed, or maybe I'm overthinking, but you are not, and you never were. So this video is about waking up from that spell. It's about learning from the emotional trap Liz was caught in, not to shame her. You guys, we're not shaming her because no one can know everything and nobody is perfect, but this video is to empower all of us. Because if someone as conscious, self-aware, and wise as her could fall for manipulation, any of us can. We are gonna break down how manipulation hides in plain sight, why even emotionally intelligent people miss the signs, the red flags that feel normal until they destroy you, then the green flags that actually matter and why we need to prioritize them more, and how to rebuild yourself stronger than ever when you've been betrayed. This might be the most important relationship conversation you hear all year, because this isn't just tea, it's a warning, and it's a path to real healing. You know, maybe you're watching with tears in your eyes, realizing that someone made you feel small. Maybe you're still in a relationship that's draining you, but you can't find the exit. Or maybe you're already out, but you haven't stopped blaming yourself. Wherever you are, take a breath. You were not broken, you are not naive, you are not unworthy. Stop saying those things. You were targeted because of your light, okay? But now it's time to protect that light better, to see the signs clearer, and to trust your intuition faster, to walk away sooner, to never let anyone twist your empathy into weakness again. So if you're ready to unlearn toxic love, if you're ready to step into the kind of power the Wizard Liz preaches and practices, even after betrayal, then keep watching, because we're going all the way in. The betrayal, what happened? From the outside, it looked picture perfect. Confidence, chemistry, connection. The Wizard Liz, someone who radiates poise, independence, and deep self-awareness, she seemed to be in a relationship that matched her energy, right? That supported her evolution, that celebrated her strength. But here's what most people don't understand about toxic relationships is they don't start toxic. They start intoxicating. At first, he mirrored her strength, he admired her power, he clapped for her growth. He made her feel like, finally, she found someone who could meet her at her level, and that's the first hook. Manipulated people often present themselves as your emotional equal until they're not. He didn't cheat immediately, remember? He built trust. He studied her through her videos. He understood what she needed emotionally and spiritually and then delivered it with precision. Not out of love, but out of strategy. That's how manipulation begins, with small tests of control disguised as deep care. People imagine manipulation as dramatic, obvious, and messy, like on TV or movies and things like that. But the most dangerous manipulation is subtle. It feels like love. It feels like intensity. It feels like someone truly seeing you until it doesn't. What happened behind closed doors between Liz and her ex might never be fully public, but from what she's shared and she's hinted and the energy behind her words, we can put some pieces together. There were emotional gaps, times when he was distant, moody, vague, moments where his actions didn't align with his words, and every time her instincts spoke up, every time she questioned the shift, something subtle shut her down. Now, we don't know the exact phrases he used behind closed doors, but based on what so many people experience in these situations overall, I bet it sounded something like this. You're being too sensitive. You overthinking again. Why are you so paranoid? These aren't casual responses, they're gaslighting. Not just denying the truth, but making you feel crazy sensing it. And that's what gaslighting does. It flips your intuition against you. And it makes you apologize for noticing something's off. Over time, her intuition dimmed, not because she stopped feeling, but because she stopped trusting herself. And then the bomb dropped. He cheated. I'm not going to go into details here. No matter how strong you are, betrayal like that is a gut punch. She was pregnant. It doesn't just hurt, it disorients. It cracks a version of reality that you thought was real. You start questioning, were the good moments fake? Was it all manipulation? Did he ever really love me? But here's what's even more painful. She had no idea. Not because she was blind, but because she trusted him, because she believed in what they had, and because she was loyal and she expected the same in return. Let's pause on that. Being cheated on doesn't mean you lacked awareness. It means someone you trusted broke the silent agreement of love to protect, to not destroy, to be honest, and to not hide. To love, not betray. And when someone like Liz, someone who teaches boundaries, confidence, self-worth, shares that she was manipulated and cheated on, it's not a contradiction, it is a wake-up call. Because emotional manipulation doesn't care how wise you are, it cares how much you care. Think about that again. The more empathy you have, the more dangerous the dynamic becomes. That's the real danger. He didn't need Liz to be weak. He needed her to be strong and forgiving, to believe him, to believe in change, to believe in love. And that belief is exactly what he weaponized. I feel like he also wanted someone like a woman of power so he could break her down and control her, humble her. He betrayed her entire belief system. And yet, when the mask finally fell, Liz did what so many didn't. She chose herself, even in the pain, even in the betrayal, even in the chaos of realizing that someone you loved was never really who you thought they were. She walked away. And she didn't stay to fix him. She didn't stay to prove her worth. She didn't stay because of the time invested. She didn't stay because she was pregnant either. She left because she remembered who the hell she was. And that's power. Not avoiding pain, but refusing to stay in places that require you to shrink. Because the strongest people aren't the ones who never get fooled. They're the ones, once the truth is out, never lie to themselves again. What it taught me about love and self-worth. There's something about betrayal that teaches you more about love than any fairy tale ever could. When someone cheats on you, it doesn't just leave you heartbroken. It leaves you questioning the blueprint. What you thought love looked like, what you thought you deserved, what you were willing to tolerate just to keep the illusion alive. That's what makes the healing so hard. Not just the pain of the person leaving, but the pain of realizing how far you drifted from yourself just to keep them close. And one of the biggest takeaways from the TheWizardLiz's experience is this. Love without respect isn't love. It's performance. It's someone acting out the role of a partner, but never actually being one. And when you have high self-worth, you don't fall for that at first. But manipulators are smart. They don't go after your logic, they go after your emotions. They make you feel seen before they make you feel small. What Liz's story reminded all of us is that no matter how confident you are, how independent you are, how self-loving you are, love will always ask you to be vulnerable. And that's beautiful until it's used against you. So let's talk about the difference between real love and manipulative affection. Real love respects your boundaries, and manipulative affection tests them. Real love grows with you, and manipulative affection competes with your growth. Real love brings clarity, and manipulative affection brings confusion and chaos. You'll know the difference, not by how they love you at your best, but how they treat you when you're confused, insecure, or struggling. Because manipulation, it thrives in chaos, and love actually creates peace. And here's something else Liz's experience brought to light. Self-worth doesn't mean you don't get hurt. It means you don't stay hurt. She didn't tolerate the cheating. She didn't lower her standards. She didn't try to win him back to prove anything. She walked. And that's a flex, guys. That's the healing, not in the avoidance of pain, but in the refusal to stay where pain is normalized. The Wizard Liz taught us that the ultimate self-worth move isn't just saying, I deserve better. It's in enforcing it. Even when your heart is still invested, even when walking away feels like ripping your soul in half. And here's the harshest truth of all. Sometimes we ignore the red flags because the story we want to believe is more comforting than the truth we need to face. We think if we love harder, try more, forgive faster, it'll change, but it won't. And you can't heal someone with your love if they're committed to staying broken. Love doesn't require you to suffer. It doesn't ask you to lose yourself to keep someone else. It doesn't gaslight your intuition or belittle your boundaries. Real love feels safe, it feels steady, it feels peaceful, even when it's passionate. So if you've ever been cheated on, lied to, manipulated, know this. That doesn't mean you're not worthy of love. It means someone else was unworthy of the way you loved them. Don't shrink from that. Expand from it. Because every person who lies to you teaches you how to love yourself. Because every person who lies to you teaches you how to tell yourself the truth even louder. Every betrayal reveals what you were ignoring. And you guys, every heartbreak refines what you will and won't accept moving forward. The Wizard Liz didn't just show us how to walk away. She showed us how to reclaim the narrative. He didn't ruin her. He showed her something. And she didn't collapse in the pain. She rose through it. And that's the lesson right there. Love should never cost you your voice, your peace, your clarity, and your self-worth. Yeah, that's not how you start a relationship. It's how you end one that's no longer serving you. Red flags we ignore, but we shouldn't. Red flags, they don't always wave. Sometimes they whisper. They show up as gut feelings, a pause in your spirit, a subtle tension in your chest that you write off as anxiety when it's actually your intuition screaming. And that's what makes them so dangerous, those red flags, is we don't ignore red flags because we're clueless. We ignore them because we are hopeful. We want the connection to be real so badly that we rewrite the story in real time. But here's the truth. Every betrayal starts with a red flag you turned to paint green. Let's talk about a few of the most common red flags that people like Liz and so many of us have overlooked in the name of love, loyalty, or hope. Number 1, inconsistency between words and actions. They see the right things, but their behavior lags behind. They promise to change, but never actually do. And then one day they're all in, the next day they're cold. That emotional roller coaster isn't passion, it's manipulation. Vague communication. When someone avoids clarity, dodges questions, or makes you feel needy for seeking emotional transparency, it's a problem. You're not high maintenance for wanting to understand where you stand. Number 3, dismissing your intuition. This one is subtle but deadly. If you express a concern and they immediately flip it on you, calling you sensitive, dramatic, or paranoid, that's manipulation, guys. That's a manipulation tactic. It chips away at your self-trust, and once they take that, they can twist your reality however they want. Guilt tripping. Guilt tripping you for having standards. Healthy boundaries are normal, but toxic partners will act like your boundaries are personal attacks. They'll make you feel guilty for wanting emotional consistency, respect, or even simple honesty. Intensity over intimacy. Love bombing is real. Intense chemistry, rushed commitments, grand gestures early on. It can all feel romantic, but often it's a distraction. It creates like a false sense of safety that masks deeper dysfunction. These insights, these signs, most of us have seen at least one, and we've all had moments where we told ourselves it's not that serious, they're just stressed, or every relationship has ups and downs. But here's what I've learned. Red flags, they don't go away. They grow roots, and the longer you ignore them, the deeper they plant themselves in your life. And when you're someone like Liz, strong, driven, emotionally intelligent, you might feel like you should be able to handle it. Like you're overreacting for feeling drained. Like your strength means staying even when things feel off. But strength isn't staying in what hurts. Strength is choosing to leave before the damage becomes permanent. So why do we ignore these signs? Well, because we confuse potential with reality, and because we're afraid of starting over sometimes, or because we think love is supposed to be hard, or because we were raised to believe that enduring pain is part of proving our worth. But none of that is true. Real love won't trigger your nervous system. It won't keep you guessing. It won't need you to ignore yourself to protect the relationship, to not wait until the betrayal to realize something was wrong. So the next time someone makes you feel like your standards are the problem, remember this: they are not too high. They're just too real for someone who's not ready to meet them. Green flags that we miss, but we must notice. Let's flip the script for a second. We talk a lot about red flags, and we should, but what about green flags, right? The signs that someone is actually emotionally safe, the signs that love might not be a battlefield, but a place to rest, grow, and breathe. If betrayal taught us anything, it's what we never want again, right? But it also shows us what we should start valuing more. The green flags we often ignore because they are not loud, flashy, or dramatic. They're calm, steady, and quiet. And sometimes we mistake that for boring. But here's the truth. Healthy love is never boring. It's just not chaotic. So let's talk about the green flags that deserve more attention than toxic passion ever will. 1, they respect your no without punishment. A major green flag is someone who can handle your boundaries without making you feel guilty. They don't pout, lash out, or withdraw love. They hear you, honor you, and move forward. That's emotional maturity. Number 2, you feel calm more than you feel anxious. It's not butterflies. It's not constant adrenaline. It's not, what do they really mean by that text? Healthy love feels safe, and you don't question your worth, and you don't wonder if you're too much. You just are, and that's enough. Number 3, they take accountability, not just apologize. Anyone can say sorry, you guys, but green flags show up in how someone changes after they mess up. They don't gaslight you. They reflect on what they did. They grow and they change, and they don't need to be perfect, just honest and willing. Number 4, they're consistent, not just when it's easy. Consistency isn't about texting you good morning every day, okay? It's about emotional presence. Being the same person when things are calm and when things get tough. That kind of reliability builds real intimacy. Number 5, they celebrate your growth even when it challenges them. Real love doesn't feel threatened by your evolution. They don't make you smaller to protect their ego. They cheer you on even when your glow up means they have to step up. Okay, these are some of the signs of someone who's emotionally safe. And yet, so many of us overlook them because we've been conditioned to chase intensity, to mistake emotional stability for a lack of chemistry. But here's the truth. Chemistry without compatibility is just chaos, and you want someone who brings peace to your nervous system, someone who doesn't feel like a puzzle to solve, someone who shows up not just when you're easy to love, but also when you're messy, emotional, and human. And let's be real, sometimes we miss green flags because we don't even realize that we deserve them. If you've been hurt before, your baseline might be dysfunction. And if your heart's been broken, your standards might be warped. You might think love always hurts or that you always have to prove yourself to earn it. But you don't. Love should not be earned through pain. It should be received through presence. And that starts by choosing people who reflect the love you're already giving to yourself. Now, Liz's story isn't just about what went wrong. It's about what she'll never tolerate again and what you shouldn't either. So here's your new checklist, not for perfection, but for peace. Can you be your full self around them? Do you feel safe to express how you feel? Do they listen more than they defend? Are you growing together, not apart? Do they make your life feel easier and not heavier? If the answer is yes, that's not boring, that's beautiful. Don't wait for chaos to feel alive. Don't wait for heartbreak to wake up. Start choosing people who feel like alignment, not adrenaline. Because love, when it's right, won't ask you to abandon yourself to keep it. How to heal, let go, and level up. Healing is brutal. Let's not sugarcoat it, guys. It's messy, slow, and non-linear. Some days you finally feel free, and other days one memory can send you spiraling. And that's normal because healing isn't forgetting, it's remembering without breaking. When the Wizard Liz walked away from betrayal, she didn't do it with a smile. She did it with pain, but also with power, because letting go doesn't mean you stopped loving. It means you started loving yourself more. So how do you actually begin to heal from something that shattered you? You start here. Accept that closure is a solo journey. You're not gonna get the apology that makes it all make sense. You're not gonna hear, I cheated because I was insecure and didn't deserve you. And if you do, it still won't undo the damage. Closure doesn't come from them. It comes from when you decide, I do not need to carry this pain anymore to prove it happened. You already survived it. You don't need to replay it. The next step, grieve the version of you who accepted less, because that version of you, it wasn't weak. She was surviving and she was loving the best she could with what she knew. But now you know more, and with that wisdom comes power. Let yourself feel the loss of the relationship, of the dreams, of the illusion, but don't stop there. Grieve and then grow. Here's what healing actually looked like. Saying no when it's hard. Not texting them back when you're lonely. Holding yourself at night instead of asking someone else to fill the void. And then becoming the love you were always looking for. And here's the truth about letting go. It doesn't happen in one big moment. It happens in micro decisions, tiny little shifts where you choose peace over chaos, self-respect over nostalgia, and silence over drama. You stop stalking their page, you stop romanticizing the beginning, and you stop blaming yourself for trusting them. You start creating a life that feels like healing and that looks like peace. One that sounds like your own voice, finally unmuted. And one day, without even realizing it, they stop being the first thought in the morning. You stop looking for their car on the road. You laugh, not to mask the pain, but because you actually feel joy again. And that's when you know you've leveled up, because healing isn't about getting over it. It's about becoming someone who would never go back to that. And you can too. Start by asking yourself, who am I without the pain? What do I deserve that I've been settling on? What version of me is waiting on the other side of heartbreak? That version, she's not bitter, she's not hardened, she's not afraid. She's boundaried, she's rooted, she's radiant. So take your time, grieve it all, but don't stay there. Let the pain shape you, not define you. Because the biggest flex after betrayal isn't getting revenge. It's becoming someone so healed, so whole, so rooted in their worth that chaos can't even recognize you anymore. You didn't lose them, you found you. So let's come full circle. You can have all the self-worth in the world and still get manipulated. Still get cheated on, still find yourself in a love that chips away at your spirit instead of building it. But that doesn't mean that you are broken, okay? That doesn't make you weak, that makes you human. What matters isn't whether you got hurt, it's what you do afterwards. The Wizard Liz's story wasn't just about betrayal, it was also about rebirth. And it was about remembering that even when someone disrespects you, it doesn't erase your value. It doesn't redefine your worth. It doesn't dim your light unless you let it. The real glow up isn't just in getting out. It's in also staying out, in refusing to let a broken person trick you into breaking yourself. You learned what manipulation looked like, not just in actions, but in the way it made you doubt yourself, and you learned how red flags don't always scream. Sometimes they whisper. You learned how green flags feel soft, safe, and steady, not wild and unstable. You learned that love without respect is not love. And you learned how healing doesn't make you weaker, it makes you sharper, wiser, and stronger. And most of all, you learned that you don't have to prove your worth to anyone. Not through suffering, not through staying, and not through trying to be enough for someone who was never ready for you in the first place. There's a version of you waiting on the other side of all of this pain. One who doesn't chase, doesn't shrink, doesn't second guess. That version of you, she's not bitter. She's not guarded. She's just clear. And she knows her worth. She sees the games and she's not playing anymore. So if you're watching this and you're still healing, I want you to know this. You are not behind. You are not damaged. You're just learning. And you're learning how to protect your peace, how to honor your intuition, how to love yourself without losing yourself. And trust me, when you meet the right person, the kind of person who feels like safety, you'll be so glad you walked away from the ones who didn't. That version of love you're dreaming of, it exists, but only for the version of you who refuses to settle. So let today be your turning point. Let this video be your reminder. Let Liz's story empower you to write your own, one where you are the main character, the author, and the editor. And before you go, if this video gave you clarity, comfort, or power, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs this reminder too. You never know who's smiling in public and crying in silence, right? So let's heal together and rise together.